recapping the spring 2022 gravel races. Here we start with the melting man, and immediately I fell off the front group and then had to work really hard here to get back to the front group, and stayed with them for a little bit, as you can see, through the gravel, muddy, nasty conditions. And then I worked really hard to get around the group and to the front of the group. And up this hill, I just gassed myself out, and that was kind of the end for me in the melting man. The wet, the cold, I just kind of sat up and then let the group that was behind this group here catch up to me. We worked together for a long time. As the race went on, these guys fell off too, and eventually it felt like it was just me by myself, trying not to freeze. Hands, feet completely frozen. Definitely a tough, rough race. Too cold, too wet. Would have been nice not to do that one. Then we move on to the Dirty 30, aka Filthy 50. And this race starts off, and Ralph Buckingham decides to charge off the front up the hill. And wow, I hadn't warmed up for that. And my lungs weren't ready. I couldn't hang on to the pace, and everyone just blew by me. I felt like I was standing still. Thankfully, I caught my breath eventually, and this guy on the orange bike came alongside me, and I decided, hey, I'm going to get on his wheel, and maybe we can work together to maybe bridge the gap. So we did. We took turns taking pulls, back and forth, get our way down the road, and eventually we did work really hard. I don't remember. I kept looking down at our speed, and we were 24, 25 miles an hour, and we did eventually catch back up to the front group, which I thought was completely amazing. But it felt really good when we caught up to the group because the pace was a little slower. You were able to draft, and we were both able to recover, feeling good. And then I decided I don't want to be at the back just in case. So I move up to the front a little bit, hang out at the front for a while, and things are going pretty good. Feeling good being with this group. And it's a pretty big group, actually, as we speed past the marsh on the left there. As with any gravel road race, there's moves here and there, so the group speeds up and then slows down. Around corners, usually there's a lot of speeding up happening around turns onto gravel roads or whatnot like this. You're always like, ooh, it's time to sprint, catch back up. Everyone's, you know how it goes. This race presses on a little bit, and I'm still feeling pretty good. And then around one of these corners, tragedy strikes, and we're going through, and I thought for sure I saw a good line on the left side of the road, and when I moved to the left, it was a bad line. I went through these huge potholes, and both of my water bottles right there flew out of my flew off my bike. As you can see, they flew off someone else's bike, and I can't ride, who knows, 30 more miles without hydration. So here I go back. There are both of my bottles right there. Pick them both up, stick them in the bike, and that was pretty much the end of this race. I eventually press on and see a guy ahead, and then I decide, you know what, I might as well just catch up to him to see if we can work together. And I catch up to him, but I drop him, and then I realize there's a lot of wind, and you know what, it's going to be a lot smarter for us to work together. So I slow up a little bit, he catches back on, and then him and I go back and forth taking pulls. We eventually catch another rider who rides with us for quite a bit. He takes some pulls for us, and that helps out quite a bit. That's kind of like the middle of the race. And then the end of the race, we get closer to the end of the race, a group does catch us. We did notice. I turned around at one point and said, hey, there's a pretty decent group coming up toward us, and they're going to catch us. We were both pretty tired from pulling all day by ourselves, and that group caught up to us, and we rolled with that group for a while up some of the bigger hills. I think Pre-Ivan and Ivanhill, And then once you get past that, pretty much speed demon downhill. And so we rolled with that group. We came into town, and I really wasn't going to sprint. As you can see, I'm kind of holding back a little bit. But you see the finish line, and then I'm like, all right, let's sprint. So I start my sprint kind of late and make my way close to getting in front of everyone, but Schaumburger still got me at the line there. Still ended up being a really good workout here, but was hoping to stick with the front group. But obviously, as you can see, that didn't happen. We then move on to the Lowell 50, where I woke up in the morning and it was complete snow. So here at the start of the race, I had to go to the bathroom one more time. So I went to the bathroom, came back, and the line was so long. So I just kind of jumped in with the group there, and eventually here made my way up to the front group. And we went up the hill. The pack broke up quite a bit on that first hill. Came down this fast, speedy hill and took a sharp left onto the dirt road. And luckily I pre-rode this because I was able to find my line through this section here where you see everyone struggling. I knew exactly where to go. I weaved through everyone. That kept me in touch with the front group. Even though I got a little out of touch, I was able to, get myself back with the front group here. This actually, I guess, technically wasn't the front group because I think 2 or 3 guys did go off the front by themselves. So this is, I guess, the chasing group. But it was nice. I was able to hang, with this group. We hung for quite a while. You can see on the roads, on the gravel. It's nice when the group slows down here like this and you can catch your breath and just hang in the draft. Save some watts. But in this race, I did end up, oh yeah, look at that. Potholes, bottles flying everywhere. There were a ton of big potholes on this course. What I did during this race is I tried not to follow someone directly behind them because I wanted to see the potholes. I didn't want to lose bottles again. And as you can see again, just so many potholes all over this whole course. I did have different water bottles that actually stuck in my cages better too, so that was a plus. Yeah. So anyway, I was going to say I did eventually end up doing a lot of pulls in this race. Here's Super Buckingham here. Right here he decides to make a move. He's up out of the saddle. We are, just him and I at this point are pulling away from the pack. And I decided to sit up because I knew I wasn't going to be able to sustain that. So I waited for the group and then just tucked back into the back of the group. Ralph, I think, yeah, he did end up getting away, and then it was just this pack of guys here. So then we had a lead group, and then Ralph's little group, and then we were the chasing group. And, people again made moves every now and then to pull off the front, which eventually they got absorbed back into the group. I did a ton of pulling at this point in the race. Pulled. I pulled hard there, and then we went up a slight incline, and I had just pulled really hard, and I couldn't. I was toast. So a learning lesson for me is to not maybe give an all-out pull when you're with the front group because they're just going to drop you, and they totally dropped me. I tried for a little bit to hang with the group, but I saw a group about 400, 500 yards back, and so I just sat up and waited for them. And when they joined me, I went to the back. They told me, hey, jump on the back. And that's exactly what I did. I rested for maybe like 2-3 minutes, and then immediately I worked my way up to the front of this group because I wanted to get back to the group that just dropped me. And I felt like this group had enough guys in it where we could do that. So I jumped right back up to the front and had like a monster pull. This was a pretty good pull. The guys were pretty impressed after I was done and told me good job. And then I said, just give me a couple more minutes at the back to rest, and I'll go up front again and do another strong pull. So that's exactly what I did. And I did a few more of those. And then the group got pretty smart because the wind was coming at us from the side and the front. And so we just did this cool rotation where the guys that were being shielded from the wind would come up on the inside, and we would just do like a circle. They'd pull off into the line that was fading back, and the guys that were on the shielded side from the wind would go forward. And we kept a really good clip doing that. I think you'll see a couple of clips here. This is kind of what we were doing right here. You can see the guys shielding the wind falling back, and us on the inside getting the wind block and keeping the group going. And immediately when you get to the front, you just pull off. And so we did this for quite a bit, and we were actually able to catch back up to that group. And then things got really slow for a while. Everyone kind of just sat up. And then again, I found myself at the front doing a lot of pulling once we caught that group, because no one in that group seemed to want to pull. Yeah, that worked out really good for us. Pretty cool idea. I've never had a group of guys work together so well either. I mean, that we worked really good with this circle, and yeah, it paid off. It was really, really cool teamwork. Actually, I would say it's epic teamwork. Here's the group that dropped me. As we make contact and join the group, it becomes a pretty big group. And then, like I said, everyone's just like, blah, 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 let's just sit around. So I say, you know what, we're not doing this. And I go to the front and pull. It was like a good 4-minute pull. And everyone just kind of sits behind. And then eventually goes, you know, I get some other guys that agree to go up front and maybe do a little pull. Sit at the back again, the big old group of guys that just want to sit back and chill. And again, I just make my way back up after a little rest and do another pull. Watch out for those dang potholes. You'll lose your bottles. Oh, actually, this was a guy got off the front, and so I just wanted to bridge the gap so he didn't get away. So yeah, I pulled the whole group back to him, and we were one big happy family again. Why not pull some more? So yes, this was actually another cold race. Chilly, chilly, chilly. Some moves were made up hills. And if I would have known that Dan there ripping up the hill wanted to get away from the group up the hills, I would have joined him. I just thought he was like flexing his leg power at everyone up the hills. He should have said something like, hey, let's get ahead and try to get away from these guys, but there was nothing ever said. So we just, yeah, stayed as a big group. Up each hill, though, we would lose a few people here and there. And up one of these final hills, my legs did start to cramp in my quads, so I thought for sure I was going to lose the group. This was just before the bridge. I wanted to be at the front just in case someone crashed, so I made my way to the front, went through the bridge, no issues, and no one behind me in our group crashed. At the top of the hill, I did let everyone know, you know, be careful, find a line. The bridge has a raised surface where the car tires go on. And I didn't want anyone crashing in there. That happened in the fall race. The crashes in there. We're approaching a hill where my leg started to cramp a bit, and so I fell off this group here. But once we got, yes, as you can see here, I'm like, oh yeah, I better sit down so I don't cramp up. But once we bridged the hill, I was able to get back on, and we approached the finish line. As soon as we got onto the pavement, I waited just a split second or two. I don't know exactly how long, but I thought, shoot, I got lots of power, or I felt like I had a lot of power left and energy, so I made my move to go around to the front of the group here, and I thought, I got this. And then both of my quads started to cramp up, so I decided to not go into cramp. I sat up and kind of cheered everyone on, told them to go, 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 go. And I was hoping for 8th place, but instead I got 19th because we had 11 guys in the group here. Anyway, still a great race. I did a lot of pulling, got a good workout in, happy with it. The quads just, you know, they were going to cramp on me, and I wanted to be able to pedal across the finish line here. So, yeah, there is a recap of my races. Hope you enjoyed the content. Let me know what you think of gravel racing, what kind of races you did this year, how you performed. Leave a comment below and let me know. I'll have a link in the description to some cool bike books that I've read and to the GoPro I use. If you like bikes, help support the channel, grab some bike stickers, put them on my vehicles. Also look in the description below for my ebook, Getting Started in Mountain Biking, Your First 90 Days. It'll help you get everything you need to get started on the bike. Click on one of these videos to continue your bike journey.
I'm a pretty good sprinter, but my legs, they just gave out.
Yeah. I mean, this is all new for you.
Yes, it is. And this
Had
just
a
for
great run today, though. Good job, bud.
Thanks, you too. Just for training. Thanks for pulling us up hills.
Right. I mean,
I think these actually, I think they steadily made me better.